Darkseid pulled up to Earth 22 for Gog's piece of the anti-life equation, and every single hero was terrified because they had already used up most of their energy while fighting Gog. But despite being exhausted, Kingdom Come Superman and Prime Superman combined their efforts to try and stop him, but Darkseid, being the monstrous powerhouse that he is, was completely unfazed by everything they threw at him, using his Omega beams to knock them onto the ground and render them useless. After that, he marched his way towards Gog in order to retrieve what he came for, so the Flash tried blitzing him to slow him down. But yet again, Darkseid was unbothered, swatting him into some nearby debris like he was nothing more than a bug. Eventually, Kingdom Come Batman and Prime Batman were the only things keeping Darkseid from achieving victory, but they didn't stand a chance without any powers, so Darkseid dealt with them the same as the others and then began siphoning the anti-life equation out of Gog's body. But then in a final act of bravery, David stepped out of the shadows, telling Darkseid that he would stop him. Darkseid didn't pay him any mind though, because he wasn't a big enough threat to waste energy on. If two Supermen couldn't beat him, then how could David? So he continued siphoning the anti-life equation out of Gog, but then David hit Gog's body with such a massive energy blast that it literally vaporized him, keeping Darkseid from obtaining the anti-life equation in the process. And at first it looked like Darkseid was pissed, like he was about to tear David to shreds, but then he simply just left, expressing that his plans were galactic in scale and that he would gain nothing by wasting his time on the children of Earth. Once he was gone, David was ecstatic and ready to celebrate. He couldn't believe that they actually won. But according to Batman, Superman, and all the other heroes, this was not a victory, because once again, David had crossed the line. He had taken a life in order to achieve victory. But David didn't understand. Darkseid bested all of them and was literally on the brink of victory. Why were they mad? He killed Gog for the greater good and saved billions of lives in the process. But according to Batman, there was other ways. He told David that every hero on Earth was on their way and that they needed to regroup, but instead, David ignored him until he had no choice but to step up. So all the heroes continued to bag on him, telling him that all he did by killing Gog was trade one killer for another, and eventually David left because he got sick of it. Years later, as revealed by the Spectre, David would go on to kill the Joker just as he promised when the Joker tortured him as a little boy. This choice of action made the people of Metropolis feel safe, and also made them believe that they didn't need Superman anymore because his moral code was ineffective and obsolete. So Superman retreated to his fortress where he lived in solitude until realizing that his absence had inadvertently caused a terrible chain of events that led to the hero's demise. Basically, a battle led by David ended with millions of people in Kansas dying after Captain Atom exploded, convincing Superman to come out of retirement to restore proper justice. And that's basically the entire Kingdom Come storyline. But after finding this out, the Spectre takes Batman and Superman to the future, where they find David crying over one of the heroes' gravestones in the cemetery after realizing how badly he messed up. But instead of putting him down and making him feel even worse, Superman pulled him in for a hug, expressing that it was never too late to do better. David then promised that he would, as the story comes to a close with him and a bunch of other heroes pouring in from the sky. But sadly, that's where the story comes to an end. But if you want me to cover more stories like this in the future, let me know in the comments down below.